real quick, Brenda. I want you to tell Lycurgus this because I don't think he's heard you say this. Is a shoe a natural phenomena?
Yes.
There you go.
What?
Lycurgus.
Yeah.
Oh,
You didn't know this.
It's part of the natural.
You didn't know this.
It's part of our physical world. It's physical. It's made out of atoms.
Yeah. No one's disagreeing with that. But you will never see shoes in a forest.
No, of course not, because they aren't made there. They're made by humans, right?
It's synthetic. Synthetic.
Yeah, so humans are part of nature.
So the conditions for shoes to exist is not natural, it's artificial.
No, humans are part of nature. Humans are natural.
We are.
Yeah.
Listen.
So everything we make is natural. Everything we make is natural because we're natural.
This is Brenda's hang-up, Lycurgus. This is Brenda's hang-up right here.
Yeah.
For as long as we
part of here, I'll put it clearly for you, and I don't mind doing this. Shoes are natural because humans are natural, and everything humans make is a part of nature.
How do you like them apples, Lycurgus?
There you go.
No one's disagreeing with you. It's part of material nature. It's part of nature, but it's not a wild nature phenomenon. It's not something.
Science doesn't care.
Yes, it does. Exceptionally does. Science cares,
science does
particularly more than anyone else, because that's what the whole peer and study review process is. To be able to recreate the material conditions for an experiment. So what we're saying is that what Alpha is saying is that the material conditions to have the phenomena of the bottle does not exist in nature.
You
have to agree with that.
Yeah,
you could have a science of shoes.
No, you can.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with it.
Yes, you can.
Brenda, can you put a pin on that real quick?
You can scientifically study
tried,
shoes.
Alpha. I tried.
No, I know. We've like Brenda's been doing this for years. We have multiple sound bites of her saying that. But anyway, we got RG.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, listen, we got RG the artist. Go ahead, RG. RG came up on the speaker panel. Welcome to the panel, RG.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate you having the speaker. Appreciate the space, everything, even though it gets a little combative sometimes. I'm under the impression that no one thinks there's an alternate model to the AE model, and even a couple of flat earthers are saying that there would be no other. Excuse me, just 1 second. That there would be no 24-hour sun, and I'm just proposing that if now that's the key word. If there is an observation of 24-hour sun, you would think of it like this: the analemma, from us looking up at it, looks like a figure 8 almost. Very consistent with the smaller loop being toward the north. And if there is a dome of a sorts, if there is a dome, the north would be higher, the south would be lower, and thus making sense of the figure 8. Now, one other thing, I'll keep it short, but the circuit that it travels on, the sun, if looked from the top down, would just be a circle. But through the year and through the each day, it would go up and down on that circuit. Again, the north being the highest. So picture this: if you're in Antarctica and you're looking toward the north, not up in the air, but straight ahead of you, you would see, or the observer would see, that the further the sun goes away from him, it would go higher at the same time, thus possibly showing a 24-hour sun. Now, if I'm wrong, it would set. I just wanted to get y'all's opinion on that. Thank you.
Sounds like a bowl of cope.
So
we hold on, Brenda.
AV, is the sun always between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn? And
according Yeah, according to the celestial sphere, it would have to travel in that.
According to you.
No, it's the celestial sphere. But hold on, I want to talk to RG real quick. Nobody like uh, there's a big swath of like flat Earth proponents that would argue for different positions. Just give me a little time so I can give you context, RG. I think that's what's happening. We need just a little bit of context. So when this all just really exploded on the internet around 2013, 2014, right? Everybody was buzzing around with like trying to figure out the flat earth arguments. And a lot of it happened that people couldn't tell what position they actually held because it was all very new to everybody. So the arguments were kind of like everywhere. And we're trying to figure out how to formulate these, logically consistent points. But what happened was a lot of people started to think of different ideas of how to argue for the Earth being a flat stationary plane. And in that process, we've had a lot of esoteric believing flat earthers involved in the conversation, trying to differentiate what they understand reality to be. Now, this is very difficult when you're trying to kind of sift through the rubble of what is real and what isn't. And a lot of it fell down to be on the flat earth side that you'd have to try to trailblaze, right? And in order to do that, you need to be supported by some type of explanation or theory or something. So in that process, a lot of people started clinging to different ideas, such as the AE map being the representation of what flat Earth looks like, such as outer pond earthers, like they would say there's more ponds existing outside, exactly like the one that the AE map represents, but just different ones. And there's outer ring earthers that have like different levels or different rings to the Earth system, like expanding outward, and different suns that rotate around those different rings and such. You've had the infinite plane Earth, flat earthers that extends to an infinite plane. Of course, it's in the name. And there's a lot of dome earther, the ones who thinks that there's a solid dome structure, and some of them are supported by Hebrew cosmology and so forth. So many different camps, right? Oh, wait, I didn't mention another one. There's Pac-Man Earther. There's I think his name is Nesbit, something Nesbit. I don't know his first name. I know it's Nesbit something. He argued for one of the flat Earth maps. If you look at timeanddate.com, it shows all the continents looking displayed kind of like in a square representation, and the sun moving straight across, and like it appears back on the other side again, like it moves from right to left on your screen, and then it appears back on the right side of your screen again, just like Pac-Man would. So they call that one Pac-Man Earther. So it's kind of a strange thing, but you've had many different camps. And from these different nuanced camps come the position where 24/7, like we had, and I'm only giving you a little backstory just so you can understand context. So 24/7 had a lot of these guys in and I think Bev's group as well, which says that there is no flat Earth, that the true Earth is a true globe. It's weird. Anyway, so there's a lot of different camps right now, right? And each one of these camps, they vary from the range of how they speak about flat Earth. Some of them are very esoteric, and some of them very logically consistent, and some are really rigid. Some are, kind of loosey goosey, right? So you got a range and a mixed bag of like what people think about flat Earth. But then there's those who are sticking to logically consistent points, which is what we do. We don't deviate from that. We can only talk about the things that can be proven, and we don't say that like if you come up with something that's empirical, I can't negate that. I can't go against it by some type of explanation of a belief system that I have. I have to support what I'm saying with evidence, right? And that can only be done if something can be empirically proven. So within this context that I just given you, there's a lot of people that would argue for explanations and reification models like the AE map or the Gleason's map and that sort of thing, and argue from that position. But we don't do that. And in this room, we've always stuck to logically consistent arguments that can be backed up by evidence. And we always go with if the person's going to present a position, how can they present a position if it's just an explanation or a theory and they can't support it with any evidence? So I submit to you, RG, is there any information that you can use that could support this information, such as empirical? Like we can test, we can verify, we can falsify that information you've given us, Or is this just an explanation you have for saying that, well, I could think of it another way? That's to you, sir.
Thank you for that backstory, man. Appreciate that. I've never been to Antarctica myself, but the things I was just mentioning are observable. You know, with the analemma showing, you know, with depending on where you are on Earth, that it's small. It does a smaller circuit in the north, and then the south would be bigger. It's actually a circular path. You know, when the analemma is saw from a either kind of a really high up elevation or above that, which I've never been there either. But you know, the shape of it and the directions that you're facing match up, I guess, with the analemma, and you know, the angular size does change a little bit when the sun goes, you know, downrange from you, and then right before it you know, goes too far to see anymore and it's unresolvable, it does change angular size. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And then if, like I keep saying, if there is a dome which matches up with Hebrew cosmology, it would always be higher in the north and lower in the south. And the old encyclopedias before 1958 corroborate that when they did Operation, it was either high jump or fishbowl. They were shooting
things, but he agrees a Mercator projection map exists. The two are inconsistent. Either it is possible to map spherical to flat and flat to spherical, or Mercator projection do not exist. Do coordinate transforms exist, yes or no? And the only obvious answer is yes, they do. You could transform anything to anything else.
Well, in his
come up with a coordinate
just
system.
Look really weird. It'll just look stupid.
Exactly. So it's just an absolutely like failed point. The two are not a logical impossibility to coexist. And if that's the core of your argument's now bunk, because it rests upon them being an excluded middle. There is included middle ground where they both intersect.
No, I don't think maps are the way to go about proving or disproving anything when it comes to flat Earth.
Just disproving the idea that that the globe can't be a flat Earth model because they are different shapes. Just disprove that one point you're making. I agree. It doesn't prove that the Earth's flat. It just proves that a glober had a bad argument.
Well, yeah, and you wouldn't be reaffirming models either. We are discussing principles of geometry. So the geometry that we are discussing is that there is level that does not displace itself from horizontal, right? So that's the end of the story. Is that you can fly direct and level. We have commercial aircrafts, and they fly direct level flights. So, like, did you have some sort of other argument from that?
And they're tilting up the whole time.
Okay, here, let me take him off mute. Oh, he left. Okay. I think that was Toaster.
What's up?
Oh, was that?
I mean, what do you...
Toaster, was it?
I'm still here.
What do you think about this level? Like, this is absurd, where you have to say that you're pointing down to the horizon. This is why I just like to ask, like, is there a glob indicator on the instrument panel of an aircraft? And
RG artist is the artist who's speaking.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yep. Okay.
All right.
So.